Yo, hey everybody, welcome back to my office. Rocking a FitCon shirt today. It's probably going to be postponed. So, anyway, that's sad news. So, today we're talking about home inspections. I know the last video took too long for me to get to explaining what a home inspection was, so without further ado, we're getting right down to it. Today we're going to go over what a home inspection is, who we like, how to read the report, why it's good for sellers and buyers, meth tests, radon, and a pre-listing home inspection. Alright, so first up is, what is a home inspection? Home inspection is a thorough look at the home structures, electrical, plumbing, roof, the big ticket items, which are water heaters, furnaces, AC condensers. You could throw in lots of other stuff in there like water softeners, diffusers, or there's tons of things that are included in there. A good home inspector can be a great tool that can actually look at those items and see what's in the home, because you may or may not be in the crawl space, and they can say, hey, there is something else down here, like another furnace or something else, right? That's probably a bad analogy or a bad example. So just wanted to say that the home inspector is doing a thorough look of the home. They're looking at like the guts of the house. Is it functioning? Is it working properly? Are there any defects? Our job is to make sure that all the outside things are up to par. Like, does our client like where the schools are? Does our client like the drive distance to their work, right? Like, we're helping them cultivate those things and see if those fit what they want. But when we get to this home inspection part, our job is to have a good professional to go to say, yep, I'm looking at the house, and they're determining if there are any defects, and then you can go from there. So hopefully you find that they're performed by a competent person or a competent expert. The guy we like, I'll show you his name and information, but he is very competent and very thorough. But I want to throw out a caution here. Home inspectors do not need a license. So if you run into a home inspector and you're out there just hiring anybody willy-nilly, just be cautious, right? Maybe get two, or maybe hire somebody to look at your home so you can try out what they are like. Maybe just give them a little trial run, see what their report looks like, see if they're nice, see if they're fast, see if they're thorough, that type of thing. All right, so just wanted to make sure that you're aware. They do have licenses out there for them, but they're not mandated by the state. All right, and a home inspection can involve meth tests or radon, and they can involve many other items on the inspection list. It's just up to you and your criteria and what your clients are looking for. All right, so the person that we like, or the person that I enjoy working with the most, is Blaine Henson. Here's his information up on the screen. But the reasons that I like him, he's very thorough and generally very meticulous. As with humans and human error, sometimes things get missed. But what I've found is Blaine happens to catch most of the things that I would want to see on a report. So, take that with a grain of salt. Is he going to be perfect every single time? No. Is he fallible just like most human beings? Yes. What I like is he just comes in and delivers a great product day in, day out. And sometimes it's very rare. Maybe something goes under the rug or just slips through the cracks. All right, another reason that I really enjoy working with Blaine is he has reports that are very easy to read. Our clients don't want to read this big fat book that says all these mumbo jumbos that he's looking for. They just want to know, this is broken, this needs to get fixed. This is broken, and this is why, and this needs to get fixed, right? They're paying a professional for a job, and they want the job to be easy for them to interpret, right? That's what us as realtors are doing. That's what our job is interpreting some of this stuff, helping our clients. Blaine's reports are super easy to read. I'm going to show you some of his reports here in a little bit. And then the third reason that I really enjoy working with him is because he has a report that's called a remediation report, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. but he's laid out what items are in there that need to be fixed, or not need to be, but he just addresses those items, and then he puts a contractor price next to those, so that at the end of the report you can say, yep, this is 20 grand worth of repairs, or I've had a repair or a remediation report with as much as 40 grand on there for repairs. Now, my clients dumped that contract in a hurry. They got out of there, and rightfully so. There was just a lot to work on. But they weren't people that were going to work on it, so they just didn't want to tackle that job. Now, if you see something like that, that's a great tool for negotiations, and we'll talk about that as well. All right, so let's get into how to read the report. So this is the one of the latest reports that I've had come back from Blaine, and you can see there's lots of detailed pictures. This is the detailed report, and it just has tons of stuff. So let's just take, for instance, category walls, interior and exterior. He mentions here with a picture some previous caulking noted, upper section missing caulk. So, but you can see he made a note of it, made a picture, or got a picture. It's very easy to read. This is the long version though, so I don't recommend spending too much time in here unless you really want to dive into the nuts and bolts of it. You can see he's got tons of different categories. So maybe if there was something here with the windows, he would have put something here in that section. Let's just find one more section real quick. So service entrance and panels, main service panel. So this is the service meter and main service disconnect. He just took a picture of it. Main breaker panel labeled. He didn't test these labels for accuracy. Of course, that would take forever, and they don't have time to do so. And then wires and breakers were inspected, no defects noted. That's awesome. So the electrical panel is really in great service, or in great shape. Okay, so we could go on and on reading this entire report. I don't want to bore you guys, but let's get to the remediation report, which is the one I prefer, and that's the one I always point my clients to. So when we get into this one, he makes a note here, this downspout needs to be attached to the wall. I guess it's probably floating. That's not something that's huge, 35 bucks. Some caulk, he didn't even put a cost in here. This is probably not a great example of a remediation report because this house didn't have very many items that were in defect. But you can kind of see how easy it is to read, right? Insulation needs to be added, 49 bucks for some contractor to come out and do that. Of course, homeowners can do this themselves, right? But let's say this was AC unit was broken, and then you saw some $4,000 price tag here, right? That's negotiations for you to attack that seller and say, hey, there's these defects, we need them fixed. All right, and then down here I always skip down to the total estimate, 191. This was a really great home, so there just wasn't very many items that were defects. All right, let's move on now. So why is it good for sellers and buyers? It's easy to negotiate on those repairs, right? When you have a report with pictures, verbiage, you can just send that to them on your client's behalf, and you got to ask them if they want to send that report over, which most of them do, but you have to ask because your clients paid for it and it's property of your clients. You can't just send that to the sellers. So, get their permission, send it over, negotiate those repairs. Now, it's also good so that the home, you can determine and understand what deferred maintenance is there. That kind of goes along with the repairs, but you can kind of generally see if there's a trend with deferred maintenance. You know those homeowners have never done anything with the house. So you may want to just caution your buyers. Hey, you may run into problems and issues that you've never ran into before because these homeowners haven't done any of their maintenance, or they haven't taken care of the home in the best way possible. Then I like this next line, easily identify if this home has too many repairs for your buyers. The 40 grand one that I just spoke about, that was too much. All right, and then ensure that you know if the home has meth or radon. Blaine can do both of those tests. They are a little additional cost, but work with him more frequently, and he starts to Sometimes he gives discounts to different clients and different agents. So the more you work with him, the more he works with you. So in our case, this is another reason why I love working with him, is he gives us such a great price for our clients. Let's see. So on the topic of meth and radon though, that's when you really need to figure those out and find out those numbers, because that can help you negotiate that home. Especially if it has meth, that'll be a lot of remediation. There is a huge ticket with that. There's a lot of time involved as well, and your clients are definitely going to want to know. Radon, it's much easier, but there is a cost associated with that in remediation, but we can talk about that later, or you can watch the radon video that's on our channel. All right, up next and very last is a pre-listing inspection. Sometimes I've convinced homeowners to get a pre-listing home inspection. This is rare though, but it can alleviate some of the unknowns for your sellers, which that's why I like doing it. But the second line here, most sellers won't do one because of the cost. And then if they do one, they won't like the truth because sellers aren't ready to hear that yet. When it comes in during a contract and they get that home inspection from a buyer that says, hey, you need these repairs, they usually stomach that a little better. When you're in the pre-listing phases, it's hard to tell sellers the truth about price. It's hard to tell them truth about repairs. Sometimes they just don't want to hear it, and they're just not ready to wrap their head around truth statements yet. They still feel like it's the best home they've ever lived in, the price needs to be high, it doesn't have any repairs, it's a great home, blah, 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 blah. And you guys have heard them all. But yeah, just be ready for that. If you try to convince them to get a pre-listing home inspection and you get one, they won't be ready for that truth that comes out with all the repairs. All right, and then lastly, it can set your listing up for success, right? If you have less repairs that come off of a home inspection during the contract, that's just better for everybody, right? You're gonna get more money, you're gonna make more money, your sellers are gonna make more, right? Because there's less negotiation tools that the buyer has access to. All right, so that's a home inspection, and I'm glad to have relayed this information. Hopefully this video is much faster so that you guys can get right through it and learn these topics. And lastly, here's Blaine Henson's information just one more time. If you don't know a home inspector, just meet with him before you get into a listing. That way you can create that relationship and start working with somebody who's really knowledgeable about how to do this. All right, y'all. Thanks, and have a good day. Later.